Although we've come to the end of the road, still I can't let you go. It's still natural. You belong to me. I belong to.
I don't think you're supposed to like sing the whole song.
Oh, that was when attitude was in so.
Yes. Then those expressions used to go into songs.
Yes, it used to just work.
No, it's not a seizure.
Oh, anyway, good morning and thank you so much, amazing audience. I mean, and thank you for tuning in and showing us love because we're bringing a lot of love to you on Jasiri. Welcome to Jasiri. I'm in such a mood this morning because my producer finally recognized that on this table, the best musical talent in the world, and as the genius songstress that I am declaring today, Thursday, but let me warn blessings. If you dare to sing anyhow, we will sew off your mic.
You know, there's a possibility that it's not like you're the best musical talent. Sometimes they open with the worst.
So, ladies, let's start with this. I know you're going to come with some retort, but I know the only songs that you really know how to sing are those olden days gospel music.
Me, olden days.
La da la da la da la da. Follow the ladder to heaven, sister, follow.
Follow the ladder.
Follow the ladder. Anyway, because we're musical today, I'm going to be asking you guys, what's the album you can listen to from beginning to the end?
Oh my God.
And you have no urge to like skip a song. Kathy, you're so musical.
Listen.
I know.
I've just been thrown into a state of total
Confusion.
Premium confusion.
Because you have a couple
Because there's so many.
of...
But first off my head would be, which is funny, I can listen to this album without skipping a song. Keith Daniels, Barnabas, the EP.
Ooh.
I can listen to that EP that has Barnabas,
So
it has
such a
O'Shea.
groupie for Keith Daniel.
No, Keith and I are cool.
Wow. I didn't think it was something you wanted to say out loud.
No, we're just...
You said it on national television. You are acknowledged.
Can we focus on the question?
Thank you. So that album, off the top of my head, yes, I can listen to without skipping. Although I have, favorite songs from other albums, from other artists. Another album, yes.
Okay.
So I say another one.
Yeah.
Another album. Well, this time it's not Nigerian. Is the director he's such a genius. So I can listen to Unforgettable. Now that album by Natalie Cole.
Unforgettable.
There are so many classics in that album, so yes, I can listen to it. Non dimentica, darling, je vous aime beaucoup.
Of course, you like that
I'm
one.
just saying.
Je vous aime, me voulez-vous. You must
The
know that
very
one.
thought of you, and I forget to do the little
God. Oh yeah, blessing. Let me cook help you there. Let me say it for you.
It's not ladder, because I don't even know that.
No. Let me say your own. Chisam Chukuka. Tell me, what's your favorite album of all time?
And Blessings can sing.
To be honest,
No, she can.
so bad.
But we won't entertain it on this table today.
I don't have
I'm
to
the only
sing.
songstress here.
Those that know, they know. But
Better.
to be honest, I hardly listen to albums. I think that the only album that I've ever listened to complete is Ira Starr's 19 and Dangerous. And I know every song.
Because you think you're just a little above 19.
Oh my God.
No, I just
Or is it
know
about the dangerous?
No, it's the songs in it.
Okay.
So you know all the songs and you listen to
All
all
of the songs.
So we
Like,
can say that you really like Ira Starr's songs.
yeah, I used to.
Used to.
Yeah. No, like, there's some people that you just like the first few songs, but you no longer follow the songs that they have. I don't know what her recent songs are, but I know that when I hear
know
like the
how
stability
heartbreaking that
of,
is?
for who?
Ira,
She don't even know me.
my sister.
Oh my God.
Do you know how close I am to Ira? And I was walking towards like offering her like a collabo, but she had to go that route.
Oh.
I thought she was going to say Nathaniel Bassey.
Blessings.
Yeah.
Why do you see her as that?
Nathaniel.
No,
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, of course. Of course, she knows me. But like album, I don't know all the songs on the album, except maybe Theophilus' songs.
So which song?
Okay, the one that sailed away from you.
Catherine, please. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, which songs are the top 5? Because I know you have
You
some
didn't
blessings.
ask me, guys.
No, I'm getting there. You know, Blessings has Lolo. You and I know when she comes into makeup studio.
She's so musical.
She's going on some songs that I was gonna ask her what top 5 songs that she's listened to that are on her playlist.
Tell me your
playlist.
top 5 songs.
But not in the album. Right?
No. It doesn't have to be in the album.
Okay, so there's oh my God.
Because we know some. Those ones that you always harass us with it. And she just keeps going, She's just getting into her zone.
I know that I like Ashake's Lonely at the Top.
Yes.
Lonely.
I know that. I can't think of them right now.
It's okay. It's
hear
okay.
that?
I like Ashake too.
Oh.
I don't just like Ashake. I like the boy. You know, it just has this thing about this music.
No, this is not an audition.
This is new song that everybody is dancing on.
No, what is your own? Tell us the song. Which album? No. See, Lolo, you're not going to skip the question. Let's
the
go
one
back
you told
to you.
me. Backstreet Boys.
Is that the one you told me? Why do you have to cast yourself like this?
Millennial.
Sing a song from it.
That song.
Oh, this song.
You know that?
I don't know it. I want.
You know? Oh my God.
Lolo, they gave you expo. You came to live TV and exposed you. You even forgot the song.
I said the one you said.
Everybody on air actually knows that I am a very truthful person. I do not live under a guise.
No, it's because you forgot.
Just say
Millennial
so.
Gen Z. Don't you know that there's some things you don't say back to adults, like you forgot something?
Okay, so now let's repair. Let's help, because I want you to. Lolo has a fantastic voice, by the way, and so does Blessing.
Thank you. I would never
Me,
collaborate.
I was in the choir. That's all I can say. I used to sing treble. So Lolo, just sing a song. One of your favorite songs. Just sing a song. That's not end of the road, because it's not the end of the road yet.
Unbreak my heart. Say you love me again. Something certain when you walk out the door.
Join it now.
I
cried so many nights. Unbreak my heart.
But you know me.
Sing with
I know
me.
the
What do
attitude
you know?
of the song more than the lyrics.
Yeah, that's obvious. That's quite obvious.
Blessings didn't sing a favorite song of hers.
Blessing, sing a song. Let's give you a. Let's
Because she
make
was
this
humming
your
one
moment.
here, actually. You were humming.
So when it comes, okay, so I'm just going to
sing
pick
a
one.
Yes, make this your moment.
Oh.
So there's this
waiting
one that
for this
says,
break.
broken inside, you left me for another. Surrender my truth, but I didn't tend to stop him. Come on where you at, just give me what I gave him. Love and no stress, love to the end, love me when you remember. Hey, it tends to mess with my mind. That's our style, by the way.
I have to go to the ampy.
No, I was holding my hair.
We need to work on her. Though the song, the voice is quite melodious. This is jealousy coming through. Jealousy coming through.
That was beautiful.
But have you heard our producer's voice?
Should we call her in here?
Bookie. Yes, we can. There is an evil suggestion coming through.
No, nobody's asking me to sing a song.
All right, Catherine, take the floor.
And about things that.
No, how did you know? No, sing it.
Let's talk about.
Lolo is all about the attitude. Lolo,
Let's talk about.
on three. Let's.
I don't. You can
On
sing
three,
the
let's
song,
sing
I can
it.
dance
Let's do
to
the
it.
attitude. Let's do
Yeah.
it. Okay.
You sing the
1,
song, I
2,
dance to it.
3. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things, all the bad things. Stop, maybe.
I don't know the
Let's
song.
talk about. All right, welcome back. We're streaming live on our social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. Just use the hashtag Jasiri to be part of our conversations. Before the break, we were in on a sexual-themed P, and that's because it ties up to what we're talking about today. Blessings.
I wasn't part of the Wii U, but speak for yourself, because I wasn't singing that song. Anyways, in a world where intimacy
Wow.
can often be shrouded
Wow.
in taboo and misunderstanding, it's very crucial to have open and honest discussions about our desires, our needs, and our challenges. Now, we are honored to have a certified sex, couple, and mental health therapist who is renowned for her expertise in guiding individuals and couples towards greater intimacy and connection. And let's stop pretending like this conversation is not important, because it's like the crux of every marriage, right? I guess. Anyways, joining us today is Dr. Tolulope Oko-Igaire, popularly called The Fixer. Welcome, The Fixer, to Just
Oh my God.
Are you really the fixer?
Yeah.
She looks like she can solve all my
Yes, I am.
problems.
Problems you don't have already.
Anyways, Dr. Tolu, so in your experience working with clients, right, what would you say are some of the misconceptions that people have about sexual intimacy, and why would you say that people see sexual expression, especially conversations like this, as sort of a taboo?
I think it's cultural conditioning, the way we were raised. Most of the time, parents won't discuss sex with their children or teenagers. And when we are talking about sex education, we are not talking about how to make love. They are not the same thing.
Yeah.
So you should teach children, there should be sex education. In fact, it should be taught in our school. So most of the time, the only education that you have around sex is when a man touches you, you get pregnant. When you touch a girl, she gets pregnant. So the details, how do I avoid this? What does this mean? Puberty, all of those, all of this new development that I'm saying in my body, what does it mean? So you don't get to know anything. So you start finding it on your own. The reason why our parents are not even teaching us is, number one, they don't even have the information. And then number two, they would rather put fear in your mind because, they feel like at least that is a way of safeguarding you or them, but that is like a fire brigade approach. So that's one of the major problems. So we were not taught about sex. And as adults, the culture, even it developed what there's still the problem, but it's crazy around here because, if you Google, I think in 2 years ago, the most Googled word, I read that somewhere in Nigeria, the most Googled question was how to have sex. Yes, so you could check this out. So to let you, Nigeria is, and again, according to research, you check it out as well, Nigeria is one of the most how do I put it now? When it comes to having sex, Nigerians have the most
having sex.
Right. So we are having sex, but we are so ignorant about it.
Yeah.
So in a lot of cases, couples are having problems because of ignorance, and then because of the cultural conditioning. A lot of things that are being put in your head while you were growing up, you don't just wake up and start thinking differently. So they are going to affect the way you see sex, the way you react to it, the way you relate to it. And that's why I tell couples, if you are fighting your partner from now till eternity, you are fighting a lost battle because the hard way does not understand what you are trying to change. Right? Wow. So, yeah. So the major problem around this conversation, like I said, I think is cultural conditioning, and I think also ignorance. Yeah.
So how about body image issues also and low self-esteem? Probably that's the software part of it. I don't know, but I know that these are contributory factors that can impale or significantly lower sexual confidence in the man or the woman. You've mentioned cultural conditioning. I understand that because we are quite, we're very, based on how we've grown up, there's some things that are taboo for us to talk about. Even couples find it difficult sometimes to approach some sensitive conversations surrounding sex. Yeah. Now, I guess my question would be that how can individuals, man and woman, work on these insecurities to cultivate a healthier sexual communion between themselves?
So insecurity, body image problem.
Yeah.
So what do you do? This is a very big issue because generally speaking, erection is egoistic. So for a man, you actually want to feel like I'm doing something to be able to do more.
Yeah.
So if you start feeling like I'm not capable, forget it. So you see a lot of our men that are taking all of this nonsense that they are drinking up and down.
Bitters.
You are wasting your time because your problem is psychological. In a lot of cases, most of these erectile problem, premature ejaculation, erectile dysfunction, majority of them are psychological. And then you are drinking all of this concoction and thinking that as long as you don't have that confidence, as you are going in there, nothing is going to happen to you. So talking about confidence, self-esteem, you need that for your erection to work. Without it, forget it. There's going to be no erection. And then now talking about women. Now, so it's for every man,
Yeah.
I mean, it's general. Yeah. But for an African man, it's even a bigger problem because ego is an issue. The way most of our men were raised, they were raised to control.
Yeah.
You know, so it's toxic masculinity. You know, you cannot control. At the moment you feel like you are not in control, and then you lose all your capacity. And that, when it comes to sex, that's the end of it. The moment you are coming closer and you are feeling, especially for the women, especially if the woman is saying, oh, maybe, can you do it better than the way you did it yesterday? That is the beginning of the thing. So for couples, yeah. Or can you say like, oh, I like, even as little as, oh, I like the way, can we do it like this? The man will start feeling, is it that me, I don't know what I'm doing? It shouldn't work like that.
Yeah.
When you are having intimacy, you should be, that's why intimacy is beyond sex.
Yeah.
You should be able to be friends, to communicate, to be vulnerable, you know, to communicate, to engage at a deeper level.
Yeah.
If you are not able to do that, sex is just the icing of the cake. It will not work. Sex doesn't start from the bedroom. It starts from the kind of dynamics that exist between the two of you. So if you are thinking when you get to the bedroom, it will not work. So that self-esteem issue, our men need to deal with it because a lot of them, so many of them are having this premature ejaculation and erectile dysfunction problem. And it is performance anxiety. It is nothing but performance anxiety. The moment, because the way they were raised, control is a big deal. You know, so the moment the woman says, can you, I mean, those are things that, oh, babe, you like it that way? Okay, what do you mean? Can we try it? Can we, you know, that's the kind of conversation you should be having.
You know, I enjoyed when you really hammered on that communication. In Africa, it's one of the things that people find hard. Communication sounds easy, but it's such a hard thing to do or sell to families. And you're wondering that, you know, for you to have a very healthy, you know, sexual relationship, especially when it comes to intimacy in your bedroom, communication is key. And to effectively communicate is another thing. Communication is good, but effective communication.
Which communication now?
Is
verbal
another,
or non-verbal?
You know, because you want to be able to communicate your preferences, your boundaries, and all those other things to improve sexual intimacy and satisfaction.
Right.
But in our own time, like my mother, for what she handed me, she said in their time, enjoyment of what they're doing is not part of it.
Not for them.
They saw it as a duty.
Yeah.
My mom even says that if you do too much, they're like,
Where did this come from?
they don't expect that from you.
Yeah.
And they saw it as a means to procreate. My mom would tell me things that when women get pregnant, that's the last
In fact,
they would
sometimes
have
it's a privilege.
sexual intimacy.
I mean, a man that has like 10 wives, if he's coming to your room, you are privileged. So you can't be thinking of orgasm. What are we talking about? You are thinking of, let me feel the warmth of my husband. That's what that is coming to your head. So just like you have said, communication in this part of the world is a big problem. See, I see a lot of couples in my private practice, and I tell you, one of the major areas they struggle is what Lolo just mentioned. You know, the man is saying, you know, can I just pour honey on you? And the woman is saying, God forbid, you know, by virtue of maybe religious conditioning. So they cannot flow at the same, you know, the number of couples that are struggling because they cannot communicate at the same level. The man is saying, I want it like this, but these things are no big deal. But because of the way they be conditioned, they cannot process what you are processing. So in a lot of cases, you need to come to therapy, and we do a lot of cognitive reconditioning before you can begin to see any form of changes in their attitude.
But are you saying that in Nigeria? Because when I see certified doctors now talking sexual health, do you really see patients come? Or is it women that just come? Because it's new to us in Africa. Sex is something that you don't even want to say outside.
Even though I've not been able to travel for my graduation, but I've completed, I started in 2018, I've completed my PhD in sexology. I studied PhD in sex. So, we are sexual beings.
Yes, we are.
What is life without sex? See, as a man, even not even talk of an African man, if you don't feel good in the bedroom, it will follow you to the boardroom. In your subconscious is telling you, you are nothing. Look at you. Maybe your capacity should be like 80%. You'll be giving like 40 because at night you were feeling like a nobody. It will keep following you everywhere. You are talking, you are doing like, oh God, something is talking behind you. You are not capable now. You don't have anything. So it's a big deal. It's a whole embodiment of
how do we
overcome it?
How do we overcome it? Because in the West, they have moved into higher climes. In the West, sexual orientation has gone to such lengths that
it seems like we're struggling to catch up.
We are still trying to catch up.
So sexual orientation and gender identity issue, that's a different ballgame on its own. But let's even forget sexual orientation and gender identity issue. Let's be looking at how do we make intimacy what it's supposed to be. You see, when sex is not working in marriage, forget it.
I have questions based on that, actually, but I'm going to try to marry it all because I'm looking at the fact that we live in a society that's saturated with unrealistic portrayals of sex and relationships in media and pop culture.
Agreed.
Now, my question is going to tamper a bit on fantasy. Where do we draw the line between fantasy and reality in such a way that these genuine connections we seek in relationships can be attained? And then number two, the dependence of men nowadays on
all of this,
on the beaters and the likes of them. And then you see couples who have been together for years. Is it possible also that couples can be together and not have sex for like 5 years, 6 years,
I have seen 17 years.
Huh?
I have seen 17 years.
No.
Is it a combination of all your clients?
Married, living together.
One couple?
Yes, a couple. No, I've seen one couple. I've seen 5, I've seen 10.
Without
I've seen
intimacy
3
sex?
without sex. I've seen 17 years.
So it's not medical condition?
So it's sometimes, your issues could be psychological, and because you didn't deal with it on time, you might now begin to, before you can even now have like therapy that could work for you, you might now need to combine it with medication. So, but yes, there are issues that are not medical. Majority of these issues are actually not medical. Maybe they're having issues and then, this one is, they are beefing themselves and then they stop talking, or this one is not enjoying it, or in a lot of cases, the man just want to jump on her, and the woman is like doing it for 5 years, for 7 years, and it's feeling like, what am I doing? Women, majority of the women here, they actually even believe that it's not possible for them to enjoy sex. How do you even feel that way? Women have capacity to enjoy sex more than men.
So how about the fantasy, the leaning on fantasies and, I want to
do this, I want to do that.
Yeah. And the reality. How do we marry
reality?
That? Where?
Your reality might be different from my reality.
Yeah, that's a thing.
But there is a thin line between fantasies and paraphilias. Paraphilias are sexual dysfunctions. So if I am with you and I'm saying like, I want threesome, like that is so common now these days, right? I want threesome, and you are saying, fine, as long as it works for the two of us. I feel good about it, and the two of us can, we can get someone out there, we do it together, we are cool. If that works for the two of you, so it is a fantasy or a kink. But the moment the other party is saying, I don't feel good about this thing, after you finish doing it, you are feeling sad, you are feeling guilty, and then it's affecting your relationship, then it's crossing to the other side. So now there is just a very thin line between fantasies and paraphilia. A lot of people have in fact, when you are talking about sexual dysfunction, I think it's rooted in Africa. We just think Oyibo people.
I did tell you.
Because in this part of the world, how many people can come out boldly and say, I lost my virginity the day I want to lose it, the way I want to? How many? How many?
Even this conversation we are having, I'm sure some people on their TV like,
The worst part of it, I've seen a lot, really. I see a lot of clients. The worst part of it, these people are dying in silence. They have a problem. Like what you are just saying, couples, majority of the problem is blending what you want and what I want. And what is blocking some people from, getting maybe to the point their partner wants, in a lot of cases, like I said, especially religious conditioning.
Okay,
how does somebody dictate to you, this is the kind of sex? Let me not even go to that place.
Yeah, so Dr. Tolulope, you said something about how you feel in the bedroom follows you to the boardroom. That's the first time I'm hearing that. But I would like for us to put it side by side, the issue of capability versus vulnerability, right? We had talked earlier about men who are egotistic and not wanting to hear certain things from their women. For example, I don't like it this way, I don't like it that way. Somehow it tramps on their ego, right? So if they, how do I put this? If they do not allow themselves be vulnerable, because already they have that mindset that you can't control me in the bedroom, how then can they progress? How important would you say vulnerability is when it comes to sexual intimacy?
They can't, it's as simple as they can't progress. They will keep having sexual problems. Like almost all couples are having it anyway. They will keep having it because how do you enjoy sex without vulnerability? Vulnerability when it comes to sexual intimacy is more like somebody is taking you to a slaughter and you're like, you know what, I know you are taking me to a slaughter, but just take me there, do with me whatever you like because I trust you that I'm going to be safe. So that is vulnerability. If you can't get to that level when it comes to sex, you can't enjoy it. You can't get the benefit out of it. For sex to be great, in fact, it has to be dirty. You have to like get comfortable with body fluid, get comfortable with, what are you talking about?
I'm looking at Dr. Tola, I'm like, can we totally have like all those spa? No, now there are places you can go and it's like a getaway place where couples go for therapy, and people like Dr. Tolu take them on step-by-step, thing. So now that we're on this elevated tour, I wonder why this question is my own sharp. Let's talk about experimentation and exploration, especially when it comes to sexual fulfillment. How can individuals navigate new experiences? Just like you're talking, there's so many fantasies. Like in Africa, I've seen someone that will tell me, I don't know, but I heard it and it was fun. She said her and her husband, once in a month, they have this fantasy they play. He calls her up in the office and just calls her Grace and says, meet me at room 704. And she goes there like she's his side chick. They don't call each other their names. She wears a wig.
So like they're cheating.
Like she's like his side chick. And when they are there, they do whatever they do and they live separately.
And they're happy, they're fulfilled.
When they get home, they even go like, oh, you didn't come home tonight. He said, I just wanted to sleep out. Is that a problem? And they don't talk about it. Like, they said they just like, oh my God.
So I've had clients that I had to tell the wife to stay by the roadside, and then the husband will, hey babe, can you hop in?
Oh my God.
In fact, they are not living in Nigeria, but I did that for them, and they were having serious sexual problems because they were losing the spark, right? So I'm like, okay, there are so many things that we could do. And just like Lolo was saying, what you were talking about is called somatic sex. There is somatic sex therapy.
Wow.
There is surrogate sex therapy. In somatic sex therapy, in fact, I just started. I didn't want to do it because everything I do, I'm considering the environment. So I'm also a bit subtle. But I mean, this is what I studied. My surrogate class was almost for 24 hours. And the people that taught us in that class were surrogates. Right? So why won't I be able to do all of this, especially in an environment where there's a lot of problems?
So I'm so sorry. When you say surrogate?
So for somatic sex therapy is what Lolo was talking about. Where you take people step by step. So for example, maybe somebody had like a growth around their, private area. I mean, it's money. I don't like to say private. I like to say it as it is.
We appreciate yourself.
All right. So maybe you have like a growth. Fine man, rich, everything is working for you, but every time you think about that thing, maybe something very big around you are feeling like I can't, Maybe the day you even now make attempt, like maybe you are seeing somebody, maybe a sex therapist, I'll help you to boost your confidence and everything. And then the day you try to do it, and you meet a lady that like, oh, what's this? Oh, sorry, I can't get down with this. So that alone could kill you.
Yeah.
So the job of a surrogate, right, is to make love to you in a way that you will be able to break all of those anxiety, all of those barriers, all of the low self-esteem. You're going to be able to overcome. So it's like you are talking as they are sleeping with you. So there are surrogate sex therapists that sleep with their partner all over the world.
And then chatted
but this one, but it's not something we just do.
Yes.
Yeah,
this surrogate thing is a clinical process?
It is a clinical process. And it is ethically guided. There are rules and regulations. You have to sign a lot of,
Do you get surrogates to help people?
Yes. Surrogate sex therapists are rich.
They are therapists themselves.
Can I take the course?
Yes, you can.
I kept looking at it because I knew you were going somewhere.
No, but I'm enjoying us having this conversation, especially daytime. Because I'm seeing a lot of violence we are seeing a lot of domestic violence.
Yeah.
There are so many things that people bottle up that could have gotten some other ways to let out. Yeah. But because of what Dr. Tolu said, this thing, cultural blocks in our head, religious blocks in our head, make people angry a lot.
Yeah. And people are not happy, not because... So if you do whatever you want to do for that marriage, they will not be happy. As long, and then some women will tell you, is it food? It is food, come on.
Right?
It
is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I want to go back to this surrogacy thing.
I'm
just hearing it for the first time. So does it apply to married couples? Like a man and a woman comes in?
So that is somatic. But married couple can also go for surrogate.
Individually, the husband and the wife.
Yeah, they can individually. But somatic, majorly, it could be individual, but somatic is to guide you. And that is one of the major... African men don't know how to make love. I'm sorry. If I'm generous, they don't. And in fact, unfortunately, even the woke generation, they don't. Because the men, they are passing all of this, incompetency from generation to generation, and it's subtle. So they don't even teach you. Like, where did you learn how to make love? Porn. I normally say this a lot of time, that learning how to make love from porn is like learning how to drive from watching Fast and Furious. It's the same thing. It's the same. So a lot of people will go, and that's where, how did you learn how to make love? Now, you don't even understand the person you are dealing with. You don't understand the body. You don't understand the dynamics. You just watch porn, and then you have these.
Now that you mentioned that, pornography, now, it is a silent killer, and there's a lot of dependence on pornography. Now, how does pornography that becomes sexual addiction, how does that translate into low performance sexually?
As long as it's addiction, it becomes a problem. The moment you cross the line and move to addiction, you are in trouble. Because as long as it's called an addiction, it's going to affect every aspect of your life. There is no way. So when people say, oh, you can't, the porn doesn't cause problem. Yeah, if you are watching it and you cannot be addicted, fine. But it is addictive because it releases a lot of feel-good hormone to your system, and then you develop tolerance. So you are taking 5% today, tomorrow you need 7. After some time, you start needing more. So you move from soft porn, you start going to hard porn, you start going to dangerous porn.
Is that not enough? Is that not enough, enough catalyst to make performance to just translate into sexual performances?
I mean, get that.
When you watch, if one is a regular watcher of pornography, because it releases so many feel-good hormones and you feel ginger,
so that
shouldn't that translate?
Okay, now this is it. Porn and masturbation goes hand in hand in a lot of cases.
Okay.
If you see somebody that is addicted to porn, possibility that they will be addicted to masturbation is very, very high, extremely high. Okay. And what you are doing, what addiction is doing, is retraining your brain. So in the case of porn and masturbation, it's training your brain. Why do you need another person? We can do it by ourselves. So in fact, it starts from, so sometimes you want to toast ladies here. You need to make effort. You need to buy flour. I don't know what Nigerian girls want. But now, when your brain is used to doing it for you, the gratification you are looking for, you can get by yourself. So you are going, why do I have to buy flour? Why do I have to call you 3 times? Why do I have to check on you? Because I want to build, when I can get what I'm looking for. So the effort to even build a relationship, you lose it completely. That is number one problem. Now, when you not even get down, when you get to the point of making love, your brain doesn't know how to do it with another person. It knows how to do it with you alone.
Hey,
That's the struggle.
I almost started putting clap offering.
Honestly. Put it.
This is great. You know, there's so many things that she would explain to us medically that is just something I think of.
Yeah.
Because this thing that she's saying is like retraining your mind towards something. That, oh, I think this is better for me, and your body begins to believe it. And that's why a lot of people start having dysfunction.
Yeah.
Because I would call it wifing their hand. I didn't even know it was a clinical. I believe that some men have wifed their hands because they're used to doing things for their own self, that when they see another party, it just doesn't work.
Okay, Dr. Tolu. So earlier, Lolo mentioned, religious beliefs, and that's a big thing, especially here in Africa, in Nigeria specifically. There's that religious barrier and even cultural barrier. We did mention that, although I don't know if it still happens now, but women of those days believe that it was a duty. They don't care about enjoying, and even if you enjoy it too much, it's a problem. So how does that, how do you manage that? Let's say you still have that cultural barrier or the religious barrier. How do you manage that with trying to satisfy yourself sexually? Not yourself, but like getting that sexual desire that you as a couple.
So like I said earlier, it's like a hardware. So it's like you are looking at this phone, I'm saying it's black. You are looking at it and you're saying what's this color? So maybe gold, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm seeing black, you are seeing gold.
Yeah.
So when we want to make love, I want to make love based on black that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
You don't know any better than the gold that you are seeing. So if I keep trying to convince you to do black, can't you see black? You just be looking at me like, are you normal?
Exactly.
That is what conditioning does to our brain. So for couples, you are fighting a loss. If you are fighting your wife or fighting your husband, you're fighting a lost battle. Because he cannot process what you are processing. And what I normally tell couples is, it is not his fault. For example, I posted something, I'm coming to the question, I'll round it up. I posted something on my social media platform about love language, because we say it a lot of time as Africans. Oh, my love language is church. My love language. I think we just bastardize all of these things that we bring in and then we don't know. Like, so I'll give you an example. I had a client. They just got married, and long story, but I will make it short. Yeah. And the lady said, 2 years, and she's like, I'm done. What is the problem? The guy does not touch. Unfortunately, they were even locked down in COVID. Oh. So this is fine, this fine guy, tall, everything that you can be looking for in a man. And the guy will go to the kitchen, will make food, we place it beside her. We just go and be working his own. And the lady said, when he's coming from the kitchen, I'm expecting him to say, babe, put it in my mouth. I'm expecting him to hug me from the back, peck my neck, say, babe, can we eat together? He doesn't know how to do all that, right? And if she can say, my love language is touch, he doesn't touch me. See, I have seen couples that I would tell them, husband to put his hand like this and tell the wife to put it on top. He will be doing like this. She cannot put it. So now, when I started having a session with this guy, and he kept saying, like, I'm trying. That's what he kept saying, I'm trying. And the lady, like, I don't care. I want to, all of this. And I'm like, okay. And when I started exploring this guy, I found out that the grandmom grew up in Buckingham Palace. That's what we call it, Buckingham Palace. The maid. Oh, you know how protocol that place could be? Yeah. She was a maid. And then she raised the mom of this guy. So the guy said, now that you are talking to me, Dr. Tolu, do you know something is coming to my head? While we were growing up, my mom used to say one Yoruba sentence, ma lo mommy. You know what ma lo mommy means? Don't touch me. He said it's a common language. Ma lo mommy, don't touch me. So while they were growing up, everybody respects each other's spaces. You maintain your space.
In aristocracy, they hardly, you can't imagine hugging the queen.
So now, you are now telling me, a 38 years old man that grew up with man, love, mommy, married you, and you're saying your love language is touch. Where did he learn it from? The brain does not understand it. When we were born, our brain doesn't come with anything. Scientists call it tabula rasa. So everything, even the way you blink, the way you dress, you learn it. So the way you hug, because you can touch somebody, it's not automatic. Every behavior has an explanation. So now you're now saying, I want you to make love. Now coming to you, I want you to make love like this. The brain cannot process what you are saying until you teach the brain. So it's more like what we normally do is, we call when it comes to culture, we call this things limiting belief. So the things that you want to achieve, there are some limiting belief system that will never allow you to get there. So that's why we do, we call it cognitive reconditioning. It's like dialectical behavioral therapy, right? And cognitive therapy. We practically find out, why are you thinking like this? Every behavior, and in a lot of cases, when it comes to something that will benefit you, but you cannot see, you are thinking in response to your trauma. Almost all of us are traumatized, actually. How many people grew up in a healthy and functional family dynamics in Africa?
I agree with you.
So what are we talking about? So when the person, you now grow up and say you marry the person at 35 and say, I want us to make love like this, I want to touch it, and the person is looking at you, God forbid, I reject it in Jesus' name.
Honestly, oh my.
So to answer your question, I don't see them doing it. Yeah, you can work on, like this kind of information. That is why this kind of program is being done. So you can look at yourself and say, something is wrong with me. Without that level of self-awareness, you can't go anywhere. So after self-awareness, you start doing all of the therapy things. So I would say therapy is the answer. But before therapy, maybe self-therapy that you can do for yourself is be self-aware and be open to change.
Oh, wow. I am stupefied. I just want to say very big.
No, we cannot. We cannot let her go like that.
We can't let her go.
Let's drink some water.
Let's just go on a break. When we return, Dr. Tolulope Oko-Igaire is still with us, and the conversation is rich.
All right, guys, welcome back to Jasiri. Today we're talking to, I would like to call her the sexologist, but we call her the fixer, Dr. Tolulope Oko-Igaire. Oko-Igaire. Yeah, I think I got it. She's still with us in the studio. Quickly, before we run out of time, let's take a look at Christian couples, because towing the line of Blessing's question about cultural blockage and, of course, religious blockage in the same vein, let's take a look at Christian couples. You said something very interesting about sex being dirty. You have to be ready to go down and dirty. How do Christian couples do that without the blockage of religion?
I feel blockage. But mix our French with our English.
This is a very big issue, because I'm a born-again Christian, and I'm proud to say that, right? But if the level of problem in the church when it comes to sex, you don't even want to know. We are pretentious, we are hypocritical, and then we come out and say things that are not scientifically proven. How do you tell somebody that they should not do foreplay? How? 75 to 85% of women will not reach orgasm with penile penetration. And then you are saying don't finger. How? How does that work? Do you understand?
Yes.
So, you are looking at people saying, see, one of the major things that I notice in the religious setting is the fact that people are confusing sexual orientation and foreplay. So they think maybe when they are talking about fingering, or they are talking, I just don't understand where that mix-up is coming from. They think it's maybe a man having sex with a man, or a woman having sex with a woman. That is sexual orientation issue. It's not the same thing as saying, how do you, when I go out to speak in most of these churches, you see the women sending messages. They don't experience orgasm, because the things that make them to enjoy it, the man will not do, because they feel like, oh, it's a sin. How? Yeah. The Bible even said the two of you were naked and you were not ashamed. Yeah. I used to say that before you got married, we say God is a jealous God. He's jealous of you. The moment you got married, God starts saying the two of you as one. So that it will be, if he's jealous, he's just jealous of the two of you as an entity. Yeah. So I think there are a lot of wrong information out there. That's where we need to start from when it comes to helping religious couples. And I tell you, and the worst part of it, these men, they will go outside and then they will get blow job, and then they will come to the house and say, we don't do blow job. Yeah. You don't finger your wife, you don't touch the clitoris. The clitoris is the only organ in a woman's body that does nothing but sexual pleasure. Yeah. And somebody will neglect that part and say, we are having sex. What sex are you having?
All right, Dr. Tolu, I want to quickly ask, I wanted to ask one other question, so maybe I'm just going to fuse it as a two-in-one question about the religious sex as well. There are people who have decided to wait until after they're married, and some people would argue that that's risky because there's certain things or certain people that cannot be pleased by some features in the body of the opposite sex. So what happens when they get into the marriage and then they find out that, you know, that's not what they want? Is there a therapy that can fix that? That's one. Then secondly, is about virtual sex and sexting. Now, for a lot of people, virtual sex goes hand in hand with masturbation, because that's how that they can please themselves. So is it healthy to have virtual sex, especially when you're in a long distance relationship and you can't help it? So those two questions.
So two questions: celibacy,
yes,
and virtual sex, phone sex. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So for celibacy, what I would normally say is whatever works for you. If it's what you want, fine. Everybody should know what they want. And let your why be clear. Yeah. Because, you see, let me say something to you. If I diving into this area, when it comes to celibacy, the same thing we are talking about when we talk about cognitive reconditioning. Yeah. You are making out. You say you don't want to have sex. You will make out. You will touch. You will finger, or you will smooch, and then you will arouse your body, you know, to a level, and then you will stop. And when you stop, you now go back. You cry. You pray for forgiveness, you do all of this. What are you doing? You are touching regret, guilt, lack of satisfaction, all of this negative emotion you are attaching it to sex. Yes. Your brain understands. So when you are now, that is why majority of them struggle on the night of the wedding, because it's not a switch. Sex is not a switch that you switch off and then you switch on. You've conditioned your brain for a long time. Yeah. And then you don't just get into marriage and say, okay, sex, come. It won't come. Because what you associated with sex is guilt, is regret, is pain, all the negative emotions. So if you are going to be celibate, you had better understand your why and let it be clear. Don't go and say, because pastors say we should do it. Understand why you are doing what you do. So you don't attach all of these negative emotions and then you get into sex, into marriage, and you start struggling. That is the reality of a lot of religious couples. All right, so celibacy, fine, right? If it works for you, but please do not attach negative emotions to it. And if you get into marriage and then you are seeing what you do not like, I don't see that as a problem. People that even did everything, when they get into marriage, they see a problem. So what are we talking about?
All right, very quickly, let's go to the virtual.
Now, for the virtual sex, masturbation is not bad, but it could be addictive. Yeah. So I don't know. It depends on if you can find your balance, and then you can get to a point. So if you have your partner that is living abroad, you are living far away, and then you guys are doing something once a week, I don't think that is too much, right? Once a week. But if it's getting to a point where, I mean, there are lots of factors, like 6, 7 factors that have to be in place before we can say somebody is addicted. Now, so if those you are noticing those factors, then you know that you are crossing. All right.
Wow. Okay. This time is not enough.
I know.
Where did all the time go?
All right. Well, that's all we can take for today. I am sure that we will drag Dr. Tolulope into the makeup studio and continue this conversation. But for now, thank you so much, Dr. Tolulope Oko-Igaire, for the eye-opening conversation. I really am sitting at the edge of my seat, to be honest. And I'm sure that you have learned a thing or two. And with that, we'll wrap things up for today. Remember, tomorrow is Hot Topic Special, and you know what to do when it's Friday. So stay with us, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. For myself and the ladies,